All right, everyone, I'll ask you that you take your seats. We're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, good evening. It is Tuesday, June 4th, 2025 at 5:33 p.m., and we are calling this regular meeting of the Wake County Board of Elections to order. I want to welcome those of you who are here, watching at home. What did I call us? Y'all know it's the summertime. Well, thank you, Ms. Edmonds. Thank you for the correction. We are the Wake County Board of Education. We are already a little punchy. I want to welcome those of you that are watching at home, those of you who are here in person. Wake County Board of Education meetings, make sure I said that right, are conducted for the purpose of carrying on the official business of the school system. The public is cordially invited to attend board meetings to observe the board as it conducts its official business. That's better. Persons who willfully interrupt, disrupt, or cause disturbances at an official meeting may be directed to leave by the presiding officer. Members of the audience should show respect for the speakers tonight by refraining from loud comments or other disruptions. Disruptions by any person or persons of a public meeting will be subject to action in accordance with General Statute 143-318-17. You will notice we are a little short today, but we do have a quorum. We do have 6 members, which is sufficient for us to proceed. And so at this time, I would ask all of you that are able to please stand as we recite our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. So we will turn to our agenda, and the first item on the agenda is consideration of the meeting agenda. I'll entertain a motion at this time. We have a motion from Mr. Hershey to adopt the meeting agenda. We have a second from Ms. Rice. All in favor of adoption of the meeting agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we will proceed with the agenda as published. The first item on tonight's agenda is an information item from our academic advancement team, the 2024-2025 Wake County School Psychologist of the Year recognition. And I believe, let's see, do we have, is Michelle Woodson here? Who's presenting tonight? Michelle Woodson, Dr. Marius Pettiford, Dr. Corliss Thompson-Drew. All right. Please welcome to the stage, without her walk-up music, Miss Michelle Woodson. I'm just saying, I wanted to do like Enter the Sandman, but I couldn't get the rights, so.
Please forgive me.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Woodson.
Good evening. Thank you for your time this evening, and we are excited to make sure that we are looking at the School Psychologist of the Year. It is Miss Deidre Martin is named the Wake County's 2025 School Psychologist of the Year. Miss Martin is in her 17th year as a school psychologist, and in her 15th year working in Wake County Public Schools. She currently serves at Forest Pines Elementary School and Wake Forest Middle School. At her school, she demonstrates leadership in a variety of ways. She is the Behavioral Health Universal Screening Team Lead. She coaches girls on the run, and she serves as the Student Instructional Support Personnel Acute Crisis Team Lead. She is the member of the School Improvement Team, working with administration, teachers, and student services personnel to analyze student data regarding academics and behavior. After analyzing the data, plans of action, for instance, after seeing an increase in anxiety with students, she and a school counselor jointly ran a small group using the Coping Cat curriculum in response to an increase in discipline incidents and students demonstrating self-regulation challenges. She trained the staff in zones of regulation. To support parents, she created a weekly newsletter that provides evidence-based strategies and resources. Each month, the newsletter focuses on a different topic tailored to the behavioral health needs of students, equipping families with tools to support their children's development. For the district, she is a crisis team member guiding school personnel through crisis response. At the state level, she has served on the North Carolina School Psychology Association for the last 9 years and currently is the president of the association. We are incredibly lucky to have her in Wake County, helping to support children of the Wake County Public School System. Thank you for what you do, Ms. Martin.
All right, thank you, Ms. Woodson. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Board members are school psychologists, as you know, are valuable members of our school teams. I didn't know if any of you had any comments about the services, or otherwise we'll just continue to extend our thanks and gratitude to our psychologists for all their great work. Anyone on the board? All right, if not, go ahead, Ms. Rice.
Now, you know I was not going to let psychology move that easy. I have to extend extreme gratitude for our school psychologists and the work that they do, the assessments that they take, and helping also, I think that's very important, teachers navigate how to best support students in academics with modifications. And things of that nature. And so I just really want to say thank you so very much. You are necessary, you are needed, and continue the amazing work.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. And thank you again to our 2024-2025 Wake County School Psychologist of the Year. Our next item is a special recognition item under our Chief of Schools Department. It is the naming of the Broughton Greenhouse, and we will welcome up new Area Superintendent Lacey Peckham, our Central Area Superintendent. Good evening, Ms. Peckham.
Good evening, Chair Haggerty and members of the board. I'm honored to be with you all tonight in recognition of an outstanding alumni of Broughton High School staff and a veteran of the Wake County teaching community. I would like to ask Broughton High School Principal, Ms. Janice Diltz, and Ms. Laura Woods, veteran of Broughton High School, to join me at the podium so that they can both be recognized. Also, I want to recognize, before we begin, members of the Broughton High School staff and of Ms. Wood's family who are here to celebrate her and her accomplishments tonight as well. If you would like to stand and be recognized. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you all. I'm going to share just a little bit about Ms. Woods and why we are seeking this recognition tonight. Ms. Laura Woods served 36 years at Broughton High School, teaching biology until her retirement in June of 2023. Throughout her 3 decades of service at Broughton, she inspired countless students to pursue careers in biology, environmental science, and conservation. In addition to her efforts in leadership in the classroom, Ms. Woods made exceptional contributions to both Broughton and the Wake County community through her commitment to science education and environmental stewardship. Ms. Woods was the founder and faculty advisor for Broughton's SAFE Club, which stands for Student Action for the Environment. In her leadership of this club, she guided students in numerous sustainability initiatives that have had a lasting positive impact on both the school and broader community. Additionally, during her teaching career, she earned several accolades within the educational community, including the Wake Soil and Water Conservation District's Environmental Educator of the Year, as well as Broughton High School's Teacher of the Year during 1999 and 2000 school year, In addition to the recognition of her impactful contributions, the school administration and staff at Broughton High School would like to name the school's greenhouse in her honor and is bringing that request to the board tonight during their consideration of action items. They feel like the greenhouse represents the perfect space to honor Ms. Wood's educational legacy and inspire future generations of students to follow in her footsteps. And Dr. Taylor and district leadership gladly support this request and would like to bring it to the board for their consideration tonight. Before that action item, would you, Chair Haggerty, any members of the board have any additional comments or questions?
Thank you, Ms. Peckham. So this is wonderful recognition. We're excited to see the greenhouse go up, and we're excited for the naming ceremony. We will bring this to the board on the agenda for a vote as an action item. But before we do, while Principal Diltz and Ms. Woods are here, are there any comments or any questions from board members? Dr. Ng.
Thank you so much, Ms. Woods. And as a biology major, I truly appreciate all your hard work over the years in advocating and teaching and making it fun, making it lively and enjoyable for the students. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ng. Any other comment?
Waiting on me because I went to Broughton, didn't I?
We got to take care of our alums, so, Ms. Rice?
Thank you so very much for your dedication and hard work. I believe you said 36 years. That means I probably was there, but I don't know. I hope I was good, and I don't quite remember who my biology teacher was because I was more of a reading and writing kind of kid versus math and science. But we need you, and we commend the amazing work that you've done, and so greatly appreciate you being there, even when I was there as a kid, and I really appreciate all that you've done, and I have great memories there.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Thank you. And of course, Principal Diltz and Ms. Woods, we do offer you the microphone if any of you have any comments yourselves.
I just want to say thank you for this honor, and thank you for the people that are still at Broughton, Mrs. Diltz and the administration, and also some of my fellow teachers from the science department that have put in all the paperwork to make this happen. They talked about it at my retirement 2 years ago, and I've been waiting ever since. I'm very, very excited and very, very honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Woods. All right. If we're ready, what we'll do, I'm sorry, Mr. Hershey?
Well, I didn't want to keep her waiting anymore, and I wanted to make a motion if we're ready for that.
Well, I was going to thank them, and then I was going to go to the agenda
She's
item.
been waiting, so.
Well, I do want to thank Principal Diltz and Ms. Woods. You no longer have to stand at the podium if you do not want to. You may be seated, and then we will go with consideration of the action item. Thank you, Ms. Peckham. All right, so Mr. Hershey, you wanted to be recognized.
Make a motion that we approve the naming in honor of Miss Woods.
We have a motion for Mr. Hershey for the naming of the Broughton Greenhouse for Miss, for Miss Laura Woods. Do we have a second?
Second.
There was a race there, but I did hear Miss Edmonds. So we have a motion for Mr. Hershey, a second for Miss Edmonds. Is there any other debate or any other comments from the board? If not, we'll move into an immediate vote on the naming of the Broughton Greenhouse. All in favor of naming of the Broughton Greenhouse after Miss Laura Woods, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, it's done. Thank you, Miss Peckham. Thank you, Miss Woods and family. And so, again, we do have the remainder of our meeting, but we know that all of our agenda may not be of interest to the rest of you who are here as honorees. If anyone does need to leave now, we understand, but I would like if Ms. Deidre Martin could stand so the board members could recognize. Ms. Deidre Martin, if she's here? Okay, I just wanted to make sure if she was here that we had an opportunity to recognize her in person. All right, thank you, Ms. Woods. Thank you, Ms. Woods' family. And thank you, everyone, for our information items. Now what we'll do is we'll transition to our public comment portion. As many of you know, speakers commenting on items on tonight's agenda will be heard before speakers commenting on other topics. All other speakers will be heard in their order of sign-up. Let's see, tonight we have 2 students who will be given priority, and then we'll move to our single on-agenda speaker, and then we have a couple of off-agenda speakers. In the interest of maintaining civility and decorum, speakers are encouraged to address their comments to the Board of Education and must refrain from personal attacks and insults directed at other speakers, the board members, and members of the general public and staff. Please remain at the podium during your speaking time. Any materials you wish to share should be handed to our board attorney, Mr. Malone, seated here at the end of the table, either before or after your comments, and that way then it won't take away from your time that you have for your comment. During public comment, speaking of time, you may speak for up to 3 minutes. The microphones at the podium are adjustable, so please go ahead and adjust them, get them comfortable. Then once you begin to speak, that's when your time will start. The green light at the podium will illuminate to confirm that your time has started. Once you hear an audible tone and see the yellow light, that's your warning that you only have 30 seconds left remaining in your time. Then there will be a final tone and a red light, and that means that your time is up, and we will call the next speaker to the podium. Speakers are asked to respect the time limit and speak for no more than 3 minutes. So tonight, we do have 2 speakers. The first speaker is Swayam Shaw, who will be followed by Panchul Aaron. And just one of you at the podium at a time, please. Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Good evening, members of the Wake County Board of Education. My name is Panchal Aaron, and I'm a 17-year-old rising senior at Green Level High School. I'm here today with my close friend and co-founder, Swayam Shah. Together, last year, we co-founded the Global Scholars Alliance, a student-led 501c3 nonprofit organization registered to the IRS. Our organization is dedicated to 3 core goals: providing academic support to students across Wake County, ensuring that no child goes to school hungry, and maximizing nutritional standards in school cafeterias. Over the past 10 months, we've raised over $7,000 through grassroots efforts, community outreach, company grants, and volunteer-led tutoring. Through our work, we've formed strong partnerships with the town of Cary and the town of Apex, and we're immensely grateful for the support of local leaders such as Cary Mayor Harold Weinbrett, Apex Mayor Jack Gilbert, and the WCPSS Child Nutrition Services Department. We have spent the past few months researching the need for tutors in Wake County. Through our research, we learned that the Wake County Public Library System offers a free 2-way text-based tutoring service. However, after sending out surveys and gathering direct feedback at our own high schools, students across the county told us one thing: what they really need is interactive, face-to-face academic support. Thus, we developed a solution, a low-cost, county-wide virtual tutoring program led by highly qualified student volunteers. Our tutors are masters of their subjects, with our SAT and competition math instructor, Siddharth Chakapalli, scoring a 1600, a perfect score on the SAT. And because our tutors are volunteering their time, 100% of the proceeds will go directly to the Wake County Angel Fund, helping cover the cost of school lunches and ensuring that no student has to go to school worrying about where their next meal will come from. In a conversation with board member Lindsay Mahaffey, we learned that it takes just $2 to sponsor one student meal. This made it clear every tutoring session becomes a direct opportunity to support the meals of our fellow students. Our mission is to fund 10,000 meals by the end of 2025, and right now we can fund 3,500 meals. And in order to get to 10,000 meals, this tutoring program will take us there. This isn't just about academics, it's also about empowering families to support their child's learning while simultaneously giving back to our overall community. And beyond the financial impact, this program will help bridge any educational gaps present in Wake County by offering a centralized, reliable, and inclusive platform for students that provides face-to-face help. Instead of parents having to search through scattered tutoring services, we want to create a county-based program built for all WCPSS and also powered by WCPSS students. Thank you for your time. Now I'll pass it off to Swine.
Thank you, Mr. Aaron. Mr. Shaw.
Good evening. My name is Swayam Shah, and I'm proud to co-lead the Global Scholars Alliance along with Panchal. Additionally, I'm a rising senior at Enloe Magnet High School. So to build off what Panchal said, at my school, I've noticed a critical gap. There's no county-based, interactive tutoring program that offers the kind of live and personalized support that many students need. We knew we could step in and make a broader impact. So that's exactly what our low-cost tutoring service does. It provides meaningful academic help, and as Panchal said, because it's entirely volunteer-ran, every single dollar goes to the Wake County Angel Fund. This is so that it can help fund school meals. Each session doesn't just support one learner, it helps feed another. We're not just offering tutoring. We're offering a community-powered solution that uplifts Wake County students, both academically and nutritionally. As a local nonprofit, we're here to formally request a partnership with WCPSS to help expand this initiative. As Pancho said, we have raised over $7,000 so far through our own efforts, but now we want to take this even further. We're proposing a partnership that allows us to collaborate with WCPS's marketing and communication channels to promote our tutoring services, raise awareness for the WCPS's Angel Fund, and engage more families in giving back. This gives parents a simple, powerful opportunity. Help your child learn and help another child eat. We have already built the foundation, but with your support, we can scale it even further and ensure that WCPSS students are supported in the classroom, in the cafeteria, and in their futures. Our mission is to feed futures one meal at a time. Thank you again for your time and for everything you do to support students across the district.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw, and thank you, Mr. Aaron. You know, normally we discourage applause because we're trying to keep the comments moving, but we do, I think, want to extend our applause to both of you for this initiative. Again, thank you both. And I know that your information has been shared with our, one of our academic officers, Mr. Drew Cook, who will be back in touch with you for more information. So again, thank you for coming out and sharing that with us tonight. All right. We will go to our on-agenda speaker. We have Ms. Jeanette Hill, if Ms. Hill is here.
Hi,
Good
good
evening.
evening, Chair Hegarty, Dr. Taylor, and board members. My name is Jeanette Hill, and I am an assistant principal at Apex High School. As a member of the School Meals for All North Carolina Coalition, I would love to be speaking to you about universal free meals for every student in our district. Our coalition believes that no child should go hungry and that every child in every public school in North Carolina should have access to breakfast and lunch at school at no cost to their families. Unfortunately, given local budget conditions, I am instead here to speak against meal price increases. I'm aware that staffing and food costs have risen significantly over the past few years and that we continue to have school meal debt at the end of each school year. And while I appreciate the need to find funds to cover these increased costs and meal debt, I do not think that raising the price of school meals is the way to go about it. As you may or may not be aware, anytime you raise the price of school meals, school meal participation rates go down. Listen to that again. School meal participation rates go down. With lower participation, raising the price of school meals may actually not increase revenue. In fact, revenue could remain flat or even sink below current levels. Potential decreased revenue will put us even further from the target of our child nutrition program breaking even. Additionally, lower participation rates could be increasing the food insecurity of our students, which in turn leads to more discipline issues and lower student achievement. Instead of raising meal prices, I encourage you to seek alternate ways to lower cost and increase revenue. 2 years ago, our school implemented a second chance breakfast program and increased our breakfast participation rate by over 100%. This in turn increased the revenue that our school generated. I highly recommend expansion of the second chance breakfast program to more schools in the district as a means of increasing revenue. As a way to lower food costs over time, I suggest investing in getting our school agriculture programs GAP certified, which would allow them to produce food that can be served in our school cafeterias. Not only could food costs go down, but the nutritional value of the food being served could go up. Additionally, I would suggest that our district partner with our local grocery stores, food companies, and restaurants to find innovative way to cut food costs. 2 local grocery chains have headquarters in North Carolina, and North Carolina is home to a wide variety of food companies that produce nutritional food items that our students like to eat. Please consider alternate ways to support child nutrition that do not have the potential to lower
Thank you, Ms.
participation
Hill.
and increase.
Our next speaker is Ms. Geraldine Alshami, who will be followed by Kaylee Allred.
This way or that way?
If you have materials to pass out, please hand them to Mr. Malone.
These are just some questions that I have since I haven't been able to get up with anybody.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Alshami.
Good evening, board. Hope everybody's doing fine. It's good to see you, stranger. Good to see you. Questions, I just have some questions to ask. Oh, where are my glasses? Can't ask them without the glasses. First of all, there was 91,000 behavioral incidents in Wake County public schools in 2004, but there seems to be no data for suspension, expulsion, and alternative placement for that same year. I wanted to know why and how I can get that data. Why does Wake County prefer to use suspension, expulsion, and criminalization to address behavior problems rather than the approximately 16 behavioral health counselors that are sitting up in the district office with nothing to do and complaining they don't have nothing to do, and that's what they're qualified, they're trained to do is behavioral health, and we are just crying out, our children are crying out for behavioral health. Why do we continue to punish children for the manifestation of their disabilities? I've been saying this for 35 years. We've been continuously punishing our children for their disabilities rather than giving them the support or providing the support with available resources. Why does these children with disabilities have to endure verbal abuse, emotional abuse by teachers, bullying, and it's not reported? That's been a problem for a long time. It's not just started. It is reported. When it is reported, nobody's held accountable. When it ends up into a big whoop-de-doo and there's violence and there's whatever that's going on, then usually the person that is the victim is the one that gets the punishment. So I want to know why that is, why it continues to be. I've been doing this 50 years and I've been seeing it now 50 years. So it's time to stop because we are cycling these children into the school, not the school to prison pipeline, I call it the home school prison cycle. So how do you think that 85% of principals and 75% of teachers who say that they suffer with some type of mental illness that interferes with the way that they teach, how do you feel that it does not affect our children? How do you think that does not pass down, and what are you doing to help those teachers and those folks get some mental health so our children can stop being beat the hell out of, so they can stop being snatched around? Why, when we had felt and we were bringing the issues to you years ago, you said you didn't want that. You didn't want that. You don't want to be told about things that was happening, so children get to be abused for 64 months, 74 months, sometimes a year, before anything is ever said. And when it is said when it hits the media. The leading cause of violence and crime among young children is rooted in ACEs. Do we understand how much we cause problems?
Thank you, Ms. Delshane. Appreciate it.
Finish reading it because I'll be back next week.
Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Kaylee Allred, who will be followed by Francis Winslow Horn.
Hi.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. How are you? My name is Kaylee Allred, and I have never done this before, so if I am a little bit unknowledgeable, then please give me grace, as well as I hope that you can extend the same for me, since I know that you guys don't have knowledge of my son and the experiences that I've had with him over the last several years. All that I ask is that you hear me out about what's my experience has been over the last couple of months. I moved here to Wake County in May. I've been trying to get him services since April, and I have not had any contact back in the last 3 months, despite several efforts to the school, Pleasant Grove Elementary School, to the EC teams, both preschool and elementary, and he is about to start kindergarten with a severe flight risk and several needs that have not been addressed, and there have been no IEP meetings so far to date, despite several efforts. In fact, we've had some hostility with regards to the teams. And so what I ask from you today is that even though I don't know what you guys are going through on a daily basis, even though I don't know what it's like for a teacher, for a school, or for therapists, I would like some form of care for my son and for the future students within your care to keep them safe in their time of study and need. He starts school on July 7th, which is in 8 school days, and he has yet to have care or even a plan in place. So I am about to drop him off on a Monday morning and not know whether or not in the next 5 minutes he's going to run out of the room and make it through the hallway and run out of the building onto a busy road and get snatched, get hurt, get harmed, because there is no time placed for him. I have heard through the grapevine that there is no transfer process in place, and so that could be a potential reason as to why no one has reached out to me in the last several weeks, that they are waiting for transfer process to take place on July 1st. However, as his mom, in the next few days, that that problem is not something that's been communicated to me and causes a great deal of stress and harm for me as his parent. And so what I ask from you is maybe in the future for kindergarten students coming into your great county that I have heard so many incredible things about, that you take that into consideration when communicating with them in the future about their care. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allred. And before you leave, do you see standing here, this is Ms. Lisa Allred. If you have time, just please meet up with her before you leave, and she can help you with that information and hopefully get you the resources you need.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Our next speaker is Francis Winslow Horn, who will be followed by Joseph Deaton.
Okay. First of all, I would like to commend the board for making the cell phone policy last board meeting. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. We needed a change. I've been a substitute teacher in Wake County schools for about 20 years. I love the kids, but I see a big problem with policy changes and it trickling down. So I see that a big problem in the school system is based on respect. So the board, y'all make all these great policies on the cell phone, on the dress code, the food. I've got a couple of concerns about those. You make policies, but then the principals and the administrators and the teachers don't enforce them. So when a parent reads the student handbook and they see that there's a dress code, but then they pick up their kids and they see how the kids are dressed, that's a problem. So I looked at the dress code today and I was thinking it was shoulder to mid-thigh, they had to be covered. It's chest to mid-thigh. So at a high school, I'm seeing a girl with a strapless thing. It's the end of the school year, I don't say anything. But you can dress in a certain way and you're going to be perceived in a certain way. We cannot help how people perceive other people. If you dress a certain way, you're going to be perceived as a certain way. We have to respect the differences in how people dress and how they act. But when the school board has a dress code and it's not enforced, there's a food policy. And I got really upset after COVID-19, I was really worried about the kids, and I was one of the first subs. I went to school as soon as I could. I felt like the kids needed me. I'm a very faith-oriented person, faith over fear. And I saw a lot of food wasted. I saw a lot of food. Oranges, bananas, apples just thrown away. Federal guidelines, they had to get it, but they didn't want it, and they threw it away. And administrators are like, well, there's all these policies and all these codes, and I'm like, you're not enforcing the dress code, you're not enforcing the cell phone policy, you're not enforcing, there's another code, the food code. You're not supposed to give candy, and some well-educated people call it crap food, the chips and the stuff. If you're trying to teach, if you're a teacher in the classroom and you're trying to give instruction and students are munching on Doritos or chips or whatever, that's not conducive to a good learning environment. And then you have some teachers that give out food and some teachers that don't give out food. Then there becomes, well, that's the teacher who gives us coffee. There's teachers who give you coffee. They give you snack food. They have a sensory area, a tent in their room. Who's going to be the favorite teacher in that school? Who's going to be the teacher that no student's going to complain about? Who's going to be the teacher that the other teachers are going to be looking at and saying, hey, we might need to up our game because that teacher, everybody likes her. Anyway, I just hope you enforce the rules.
All right, thank you. Our final speaker tonight is Joseph Deaton.
I commend Dr. Taylor for giving the keynote address to the Raleigh Fathers Conference. He said that kids don't need us to be perfect, they just need us to show up. Indeed, there's an abundance of social science data that children do better when their father lives with them in the home or is at least strongly involved in their lives. Conversely, when the father is AWOL, kids more frequently do poorly in school, get involved in promiscuity, substance abuse, and eventually trouble with the law. Of course, these broad statements are not determinate for every child, but they do represent the statistics. The percentage of single-parent households and out-of-wedlock births has increased dramatically for all ethnic and socio-economic groups since the early 60s. Does anyone deny that the ill effects of this negative social trend have increased in public schools over time? Chronic absenteeism, poor academic performance, and disruptive behavior. Teachers and bus drivers tell us they are frequently disrespected and even cussed at. It amazes me that the board majority doesn't see that some of their policies undermine the objectives of that Fathers Conference. For more than 2 years, people have objected to no avail to the books that contain explicit descriptions and illustrations of all kinds of sexual activity that you have stocked in libraries and even used in class. They know that this feeds a habit of lust, not romance, and will not lead to long-term relationships that will provide loving and stable homes for the next generation. Last year, I told you about Paul Cornley, MD, PhD, who overcame terrible discrimination to become a highly respected civil rights leader in the field of public health. In 1972, he warned in his dissenting opinion on the Presidential Commission on Population that if you gave instruction on contraceptives to teenagers, you would destroy the foundation of the family. You are now dealing with the consequences of decades of that, but you keep adding fuel to the fire in various ways. Thank you.
Thank you, and that concludes our public comment period. We'll now, according to our agenda, move on to our next information item, which are comments by our superintendent, Dr. Robert Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate the introduction. I do want to say good evening to everyone. I wanted to start by publicly thanking the Wake County Board of Commissioners for fully funding the board's budget requests for our local dollars. This partnership and investment in our schools is vital to our continued success, and we sincerely thank them for their support, particularly amid the financial uncertainty that all public school systems are facing at this time. I also want to thank our district staff, particularly our budget team, who work strategically to identify budget reductions that minimize the impact on students, schools, and classrooms. We'll be hearing more about next steps later tonight as we discuss approving an interim budget and what lies ahead as we work towards a final budget. But I didn't want to let a moment pass without personally acknowledging the support of our commissioners and the sound support of our finance team, as well as the cooperation and understanding demonstrated by school-based staff. Because of their efforts, we are entering the new school year in a strong financial footing. And on behalf of the students and families of Wake County, I offer my most heartfelt thanks. I particularly want to thank our chair and our vice chair for the work that they've done on this budget. It took a tremendous amount of effort from them to get this done, and I want you guys to know that did go noticed. It wasn't unnoticed. With this strong financial foundation in place, we are ready to take on this next school year, which is just around the corner for our year-round schools. So there's much work to look forward in 25-26, including the opening of 4 new schools. So in just a couple of weeks, 2 new year-round schools, Rex Road Elementary in Holly Springs and Pleasant Plains Elementary in Apex, will open their doors to students for the very first time. And in August, 2 traditional calendar schools will do the same. That's Bowling Road Elementary in Fuquay-Varina and Felton Grove High School in Apex. These new campuses will allow us to better serve our growing communities and provide students with modern, well-equipped spaces for learning and discovery. So once again, we must thank the county commissioners and the voters of Wake County for consistently supporting our construction and our maintenance needs. So as we look ahead with optimism to the next school year, I do want to take a moment to highlight just a few of the many accomplishments from the 24-25 school year that speak to the strength of our schools, our staff, and more particularly to the strength of our students. So at the start of the school year, we were proud to announce that academic proficiency levels have nearly returned to pre-pandemic benchmarks, and in some areas even exceeded them. That is a tremendous testament to the hard work of our educators, our students, and our families. We know this is a collective effort. Our magnet programs continue to shine on the national level, with 51 schools earning National Merit Awards, and 2 of our schools, Millbrook and Lincoln Heights Magnet Elementary Schools, being recognized as among the very best magnet schools in the country. I always like to talk about our magnet schools and the awards that we receive, and when we attend the Magnet School Conference, they have 3 top awards. We received 2 of the top 3, and I always compare that to the Oscars. Top picture, top actor, and top actress. We received 2 of the 3 Oscars, so I think that's outstanding. We also set a new district record for the number of schools earning Purple Star Awards. 21 of our schools were recognized for their outstanding support of military-connected students and families, a distinction that reflects our district's firm commitment to meeting students and families where they are. I particularly like to talk about our Purple Star Awards, and I want everybody in this community to recognize the number of military-connected students that are in Wake County. Now, we traditionally look at Fort Bragg and Cumberland County as that military community, and Cumberland County has about 15,000 military-connected students. We have about 11,000, and so the impact that we have on our military is as great, and I do want to thank our schools that provide that service and that support. On that same note, 12 of our schools earned the prestigious RAMP Award for implementing highly effective data-driven school counseling programs. These awards reinforce the importance of our whole child approach to education and the essential role of our student services staff. And in what is our ultimate metric of success as a district, well over 12,000 graduating seniors received their diplomas in the past week, setting them on their way to college and career success. So I want to emphasize that these graduates are not just a reflection of high schools. Every educator, support staff member, and administrator across all grade levels have played a role in their success. So we are all part of that journey. We have the opportunity as both the superintendent and board members to attend over 30 graduations, and I can tell you that people ask me, Dr. Taylor, how do you endure over 30 some odd graduations? And I think it was, Mr. Chair, that Monday we had 7, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. And I can tell you, it was an absolute joy for the superintendent to be a part of that, even though it was arduous and it was taxing. But I recognize that that is my life's work. That is our work, to see those students matriculate across that stage. And I can tell you that we will be at those meetings, those graduations, every single year. So we want to applaud that. So I want to close by sharing a video that captures that sentiment perfectly. Take a look at this video from Wake Forest Elementary, which hosted a graduation ceremony for its 5th graders. The event also featured Wake Forest Elementary alumni returning as graduating seniors to walk the halls one more time and inspire these young students to keep pushing towards the finish line. So check this out.
Graduation season is a time to celebrate transitions all across the Wake County Public School system. For high schoolers, it allows them to celebrate moving on to college. And for 5th graders at Wake Forest Magnet Elementary School, a chance to celebrate moving on to middle school.
I deeply say thank you to teachers and friends. I am so excited to go to middle school, but I will also miss the school and its staff. I have been a student here for 3 years, and I have a lot of memories over the years.
And to my amazing classmates, I hope you know that it's up to you to make middle school the best 3 years of your life.
I had an amazing year. So this is me saying goodbye. Goodbye to my wonderful teachers, goodbye to my amazing fun classmates, and I want to give a large shout out to Mrs. Smith because she has done so much for the school and shaped it to where I'll never forget all those memories. I am so grateful for Mrs. Smith. Thank you all for coming to celebrate our final days in elementary school. This school was amazing and I love being a student here. Thank you.
The trend. As they accrued up.
After the fifth graders walked across the stage to get their diplomas, it was time for the high school seniors to parade through the halls one more time.
I remember my own fifth grade graduation, and it's cool to see someone going through a different change of life at the same time that you are, and like such different places. But I remember being in their place and graduating fifth grade and be like, graduating high school is so far away, and now we're here. I've obviously been in Wake County my entire life, but I will say the teachers in the county do a very good job at making everyone feel heard and welcome, and it was overall a great experience.
Watching the high schoolers walk across the stage gave fifth grader Isley Murtha something to look forward to.
It was really cool, and I someday want to come back and do that.
For the future middle schoolers, their fifth grade promotion was the best day of their life.
Mr. Chair, the reason why we do this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Taylor. We really appreciate that and the video montage. The next item on our agenda is consideration of the items on our consent agenda. Is there a motion? Mr. Hershey?
So move to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion from Mr. Hershey to approve the items on the consent agenda, a second from Dr. Ng. All in favor of approval of the items on the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the items on the consent agenda have been adopted. Thank you. We'll now move to our action items. The first action item we have tonight is from Finance. This is the approval of the interim budget resolution for 2025-2026, and we will hear from Mr. David Nieder. Welcome, Mr. Nieder.
Thank you, and good evening, Chair Haggerty, members of the board, and Superintendent Taylor. On June 2nd, at their meeting, the Wake County Board of Commissioners approved the Wake County budget for the 2025-26 fiscal year. And the Board of Education's proposed budget, which had requested an increase in county appropriation of $40.3 million, was approved within what the county commissioners voted on and approved within their budget. So, cutting to those two things, they effectively fully funded the board's request for this coming fiscal year. As we shared with you during the budget development cycle and when you approved your proposed budget in early May, that we would still be waiting for the state legislature, even after the county had approved its budget, to see what the final state budget was. That was our projection. It still is the case. And it's possible that final decisions made by the state for the budget, even though there is no funding gap between the board's proposed budget and the county appropriation, but it's possible that final state legislation could increase the needs for local funds and create a funding gap. We're going to have to wait and see. This is your last scheduled board meeting before the end of the fiscal year. State statute does require boards of education in the state of North Carolina to have a balanced budget in place prior to the start of a new fiscal year. And tonight what we are asking is for the board's consideration of approval of, and Superintendent Taylor said this a few minutes ago, an interim budget resolution. And let me take a couple minutes to explain what is an interim budget resolution. It's a resolution that will allow the board and the school district to continue to pay salaries and other normal expenditures to maintain our operations
unlike many other districts or most other districts in the state, we have a significant percentage of our schools that crank right back up after June 30th. I think I heard today the date was July 7th, so just after the 4th of July holiday. And by having an interim budget resolution in place, it allows 2 or 3 things to concurrently happen. 1, comply with state statute to have a budget resolution in place. 2, continue to pay the ordinary expenses. But then 3, provide the opportunity of time to wait until the state does finalize their budget so we can come back to the board, we being staff and the superintendent, with recommended adjustments that will reconcile the board's proposed budget to the Wake County budget, which we do know, and the final state budget, which we don't know. And during that same period of time, we would also bring back recommended salary schedules for the 2025-2026 year based upon whatever final state legislation is for compensation increases, and then any other things beyond what was legislated that we would be recommending to the board. So that's a little background on the interim budget resolution, and I do want to read, just so the board has it, the actual resolution that we're asking you to consider approval of. Be it resolved by the Wake County Board of Education that, pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 115C-434, the Wake County Board of Education hereby authorizes the disbursements of such amounts as may be necessary to pay salaries and wages of employees of the Wake County Public School System, principal and interest for indebtedness, and all other usual ordinary expenses that may become due and payable during the interval between beginning of the 25-26 fiscal year and the adoption of the budget resolution for that year. Such expenditures to be chargeable to the proper budget funds hereafter adopted for the fiscal year, and the board hereby appropriates from the proper funds such amounts as may be necessary for the disbursements authorized by this resolution. The interim budget resolution for fiscal year 25-26 will give the board and the superintendent the authority to operate based upon current known revenue projections for the current fiscal year, pending final authorization from the General Assembly and the county commissioners. Now therefore be it resolved, until such time as the board takes further action, following the time the North Carolina Department of Instruction releases the 2025-26 state fund allotments and federal planning allotments, and the county commissioners approve the county appropriation, that component has already been met. The Wake County Board of Education hereby approves the interim budget resolution in accordance with statute 115C-434. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions and would request that the board consider approval of a budget or an interim budget resolution for the 25-26 fiscal year.
Thank you, Mr. Nieder. Mr. Hershey.
Chair Haggerty, I make a motion that we approve the interim budget for the year.
Thank you, Mr. Hershey. We have a motion from Mr. Hershey and a second from Ms. Rice to approve the interim budget resolution authorizing interim appropriations and disbursements. Are there any questions for Mr. Nieder, for staff, or any discussion about the interim budget resolution? I think Mr. Nieder did a pretty good job of explaining the situation and its necessity. You know, again, originally when these laws were written, we had a very strict schedule for budgeting where the school systems would present their budgets by a date and the county would present their budgets by the date, all with the goal of a state budget being ready by July 1. And if we've had one in the last 30 years, it escapes my memory. I'm not going to blame them or blame my memory, but I cannot remember one. And so this will let us comply with the law until such time as the House and Senate do resolve their budget issues and do pass a budget. So at this time, we have a motion to approve the interim budget resolution. Unless there is further comment or debate, all in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, Mr. Nieder, the resolution passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, action item, are the meal prices for the 2025 and 2026 school year. And we will welcome up Miss Tiffany Lawrence. Good evening, Miss Lawrence.
Good evening, Chair, other board members. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm here to talk about the possibility of increasing meal prices, 25 cents for breakfast and 25 cents for lunch, based off the presentation that we discussed in the previous two work sessions.
Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. So board members see the proposal. The proposal was shared in work session, and we did have questions and discussion about the proposal. And if I understand, Ms. Lawrence, you are seeking board approval for the proposal at this time. That's correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Rice.
I make a motion that we accept the price increase for our school meal plan.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. We have a motion to accept the staff recommendation for the change in meal prices. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second for Ms. Edmonds. At this time, are there any comments or questions for Ms. Lawrence? We'll start with Ms. Rice, then we'll work around.
I do have a comment. First, I would love to say Ms. Lawrence has done an excellent, outstanding job, actually, with helping us better understand where we are around meal prices. I shared in a work session, I get it, I understand. I'm a parent that's raised 4 children in the Wake County Public School System, 3 at the same time being teenage boys. I get the cost is important, but if I could encourage people who didn't get to see to go back to a previous work session and watch her presentation on helping us better understand that they are an enterprise organization. And so therefore, they kind of have to stand alone. And so we want to support you. I know I particularly want to support you with marketing our student wellness and nutrition a little bit better, so that families can all participate in it, whether they can afford or not afford to pay, that it's really about our student wellness around food, nutrition services overall. So that's the reason behind me really supporting this, is because we don't have it in our budget to do alone $4.6 million to take care of all of the food. And so I encourage those who might hear us this evening that understand where we are, that they will participate, continue. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all those that's participated in our Angel Fund over the years, how they continue to collaborate with you. I encourage people to continue to do that. I love to hear our students that talk tonight, understanding a problem and finding solutions that are innovative, right? And so I'm excited about that. I will say, I think I heard, you might have to correct me if I'm wrong, I think I heard our meals about $4.50, not $2. So I think that's important for families to know that we need that. So I just do want to say thank you for the great work that you've done with helping us look at things differently and moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. We'll come around the table. I saw Ms. Edmonds.
Thank you. I have several things, comments, and a couple of questions. So first, let me say that none of us want to be doing this. I know you and I had a conversation on the phone about that. And anyway, I know that no board member, including the ones that are not here this evening, want to increase these meal prices. And so, you know, Ms. Rice and I have made the motion and seconded it, but it is not because it's what we want to do. I feel like we are trapped in a scenario where it is an enterprise system, and we have to find this money. A clarifying question that I think for myself, but also might help the public. Do I understand correctly that we cannot just pay for the staff, CNS staff, out of another budget line item? It has to be from the revenue that CNS receives?
When you say pay for the CNS staff, you mean like the workers who work in the kitchen, a line item from like the district budget?
Right. I mean, and Mr. Nieder, I'm happy for you to help. I'm sorry, Ms. Reynolds, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Fine.
But my understanding is that this program has to self-sustain and self-fund. And I'm just trying to ask the question that even if we chose to say, no, we're going to find this for, you know,
I don't even know, is it 4.6 million? The
Well, that-
4.6 million was the
So
coverage.
that was related to feeding the students who currently eat.
Right.
At no cost for
Right.
breakfast and lunch.
But the increase that we need, the total amount, we couldn't pull it from some other source. Is that correct? Even if we chose to?
Let me clarify. Going back to what just an enterprise program or fund is, it's not really a fund, it's a program. By design, the intent is that the revenues for that program equal the expenditures for the program, so it's self-sustaining over time. And it's not building up a surplus or a war chest, if you will, although it's desired to have a 2-month surplus. Not just desired, it's expected to have a 2-month surplus, but not more than that. But as is the case now, it's down to less than a 1-month surplus, and if trends continue, likely to be down to no surplus without some type of increase. So that's the design of the program. Now getting to the crux, Ms. Edmonds, of your question. Technically, other funds can be used to support an enterprise program. That's not the design, that's not the intent, and the repercussion or consequences of going down that path, it's not illegal to do that, would be to use operating funds, and it would have to be local operating funds. None of the state funds could be used for that purpose. None of our federal funds could be used really to sustain a CNS program. Would basically require budget adjustments, and just as the board had to go through in the development of the board's proposed budget, make some very difficult decisions that Dr. Taylor referred to in his comments earlier this evening. The board would be put into a situation of having to make reductions, possibly in the classroom. 90% of our operating budget goes to the schools, and so that operating budget either very directly or very indirectly supports our schools and our classrooms and our teachers and our students, having impact on our capacity to do just that. But technically, it's allowed.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Reynolds. So that is helpful for me to know next year, because I'm very concerned that we will be right back in this exact same position next year. This is the 4th year in a row that we've been put in this position, and it just makes me ill. I know that I believe all of us believe in universal school meals that should be funded, I believe, at the federal level, but in lieu of that at the state level. And there is an organization called School Meals for All NC that are working really hard toward that. And they printed this off of their website today. They did a survey that shows 81% of North Carolinians support children receiving free school meals. So rather than do this and respond to the voters of North Carolina, the legislature, and this is for the good of the whole, the legislature has prioritized private school vouchers. And so I'd like to share some numbers. In our work session, you shared that just a sort of back of the envelope rough estimate to cover all children currently who eat school meals. So whether or not they're paying for it or getting the free and reduced program, it would be about $4.6 million to cover them, all students that are eating a meal in 1 year. And this past school year, the 24-25 school year, Wake Christian Academy got $3.4 million in voucher money. That's taxpayer-funded state dollars. North Raleigh Christian Academy got $4.3 million. Thales campuses, they have 8 campuses, they received $14.4 million this school year alone. Those are state dollars for 1 year. And again, we heard in our work session today that it would cost about $4.6 million to cover the kids that are eating meals right now in 1 year. Another number I'll share with you is that the total voucher money received in Wake County just in this school year was over $56 million. So that is a choice that our state lawmakers are making, that rather than feed children and provide free school meals, we are providing taxpayer-funded coupons to wealthy families to send their children to private school. We are funding private school tuition instead of feeding kids. That's a choice. And now we're sitting up here forced to make a choice to have one of the most expensive school meals in the state of North Carolina, creeping up to $3.75 for lunch and $2 for breakfast, and it's more at the high school level. And none of us want to be in this position. So I call on all of us and everyone in the public to raise hell, quite frankly, that we should be in the business of feeding kids and not funding these school vouchers. And there's so much more. We're sending our tax rate to zero, and that's estimated to cost the state about $900 million annually. That could go toward funding school meals in this state. So we've got the wrong they have the wrong priorities down on Jones Street, in my opinion, and thus we sit here making this impossible decision tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edmonds. Other comments? Mr. Hershey?
Thank you. So to piggyback on Ms. Edmonds, I do want to point out that at the federal level, this is not a partisan issue, as we've been raising rates under a Democratic administration and now under a Republican administration. And can you I asked this in the prior meeting, but more people tend to watch this. The reimbursement rate for a meal that is free is $4.54. And about 10 years ago, it was what?
About a little over $3.
Yeah. So when people think about the need to pay staff and pay staff a living wage in Wake County, oh, and that reminds me, when they come up with the formula of how much to reimburse, do they take into account what a living wage is in a county?
No, they did not.
So the reason I'm asking that, and the reason I'm making a point of this is, we live in a county that sometimes our teachers can't afford to live in. It's hard for staff to live in. So and previous boards have done their best to really raise the pay. And to connect it all, there's a national conversation around SNAP and Medicaid, and if you're not paying a living wage, more people are going to need those services. And here we are trying to pay a living wage, and I think we're the most expensive county in the state and one of the fastest growing in the entire nation. And it would not cost the federal government a whole lot to increase the reimbursement rate across the nation. I mean, to kind of follow down Ms. Edmonds' path, the current budget proposal at the federal level asks for about $1 trillion in defense spending, and it would cost, a few billion dollars to feed every student across. That's $1 trillion and a few billion to feed all of our students across the entire country. So I just wanted to raise that. This could be covered easily by the federal government if making America healthy again was actually about health and and student health. Sorry, I made that partisan, but it's frustrating because we don't want to be raising rates, but we are punished because we are in Wake County and we have a higher cost of living. I will be supporting this as I have the last 2 years. Do we feel, the one question I had, the assistant principal brought up, and you brought it up as well. As you raise, fewer people buy. Do we have an estimate on or their percentages of how many fewer people we think, based on historical trends, would be buying? Like,
I don't have it off the top of my head. I could bring that back to you because we do have an estimate of the past for Wake County.
but, so looking at that, though, we would still be increasing revenue with this ultimately?
Yes, ultimately, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hershey. Ms. Gordon.
Thank you. I want to echo what the fellow board members have said. This is not, it doesn't come easy, but when I think about how we recently voted on the budget and in comparison, one of my questions was, why are we not asking for exactly what we need? And so you have done that. And for that reason, I can support that because you are putting our top priority, which are students, at the top and in mind. But not just that, because you are holding us accountable and you gave us clear direction on what you needed from us, how you're holding your staff accountable, and how you're also taking direction from students. And so because of those reasons, I can get behind it. However, I do want to say, I am looking forward to engaging more around proactive planning, around promotion and marketing, and bold advocacy so we can work toward free universal meals eventually. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Dr. Ng.
Yes, thank you so much. I echo the others in terms of the idea of supporting this. I think that the important thing for me is that we understand that we need to increase participation, and marketing is going to be key. And I am encouraged by what you've been saying, and your background, and your drive to hold other people accountable. And so I'm trusting that you will take on that challenge and to be able to work on increasing, the participation by providing a really attractive food options for our kids. So I will be voting yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ng. So I think everyone else has had an opportunity to speak. I just want to conclude with some thoughts. And, Ms. Lawrence, I really do want to thank you. You came here all the way up from Georgia to take a job with a lot of challenges. And we've asked a lot of you in the last couple of weeks to put together information for the board to help us get our arms around this and understand it. And so I think you've heard from several board members their thanks and appreciation. I just want to make sure that was made very clear. I also want to thank our board members, because in 1 year's time, you have all helped step up and raise the importance and priority of this issue. I think oftentimes, with all the other challenges we face in our public schools and in the classroom, school meals can often be an afterthought. And you all made it clear that that would not be the case here in Wake County. You set some pretty strong demands. I think that we needed to elevate this issue. We needed to look for solutions and look for priorities. In that time, we have done some great things. The establishment of the district-wide Angel Fund and the partnerships we've made in the community, whether it's the wonderful programs we heard about today from Mr. Aaron and Mr. Shaw, the fun run that we went hosted by the Baptist Temple, and you'll hear more from those folks at our next meeting. A lot of the work that we've done with many of you going into our schools, talking with our CNS workers, talking with our students about the meals they like and what they'd see, and those of you that have met with members of our congressional delegation to talk to them about federal support for the school lunch program. I mean, you've really invested work into this. And I do want to recap some of the issues. You've captured many of them about why this is important. And in order to provide these meals, and in order to have a school lunch program, we have to take care of our workers, our CNS workers. And as Mr. Hershey said, and I had a bunch of stuff on it, I won't repeat it, but in a nutshell, it is very expensive to live in Wake County. And many of our school staff, working school staff, can't afford to live anywhere close to the schools where they work. and more are finding it difficult to live in Wake County. We've seen data, in western Wake County. Ms. Mahaffey and Vice Chair Swanson aren't here, but the three of us in our district, we looked at a situation where we looked at the number of rental units that were available for a WCPSS custodian, for a WCPSS, CNS worker. And not only were there very few in Wake County, in some cases there were none available within the town of Cary at the time that we did that look. So it is so important. And again, I wish we could pay a living wage. I don't even think we're there yet. I originally talked about trying to keep our salaries competitive with the cost of living, and it's not even getting it to meet that. It's just simply chasing those costs. So with rising cost of living, with rising food costs, we have to pay these workers what they need to survive, or we'll lose them. And that became very clear during the pandemic, when workers could work other jobs and make more money no matter how much they loved the job. It's simply not enough to justify putting their family at a loss, when we needed to pay more. And that's what we're doing tonight. As was said, as Ms. Gordon said, Ms. Lawrence told us, what do we need to do to make this work? And this will get us to where we can afford the salaries we are paying now, and I do hope that we can continue to make progress on those salaries, in addition to finding ways to sell more lunches that will bring more money into the program, whether it's other sources of revenue that Ms. Lawrence talked about, where PTAs might have school functions, where at our different athletic events we might need to sell food products through CNS, other ways that we might be able to raise more revenue. There are important things that Ms. Rice talked about in our work session about helping families understand the benefits of child nutrition. We face a PR crisis, I think. Every time there's a new Netflix documentary on school lunches, I just cringe, wondering what it's going to say and how that's going to affect our school meals. And, the documentary might be about a small rural district in West Virginia, but I hear Wake County parents talking about it and how it reflects negatively on their impressions of the nutritious meals that we will serve here. So I say all that just to say I want to acknowledge that this has not been easy, but I really appreciate all of the work you all have done to hold the board and the staff accountable for making progress on this important issue. And we couldn't have done it if you had just simply let it go and treated it as an afterthought. So thank you all. If there is no more, Ms. Lawrence has been waiting patiently for a vote, and I would like to call a vote on this motion, on the motion that was made. All in favor of Ms. Rice's motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you.
All right. Board, that concludes our action agenda for the evening. We will go to board comment, and then after that, I'll entertain a motion for closed session. Let me look around the table. Is anyone looking to kick us off tonight? No one in particular? No one in particular? Mr. Hershey.
I just want to congratulate our graduates, and I hope that all of the people at summer swim right now are staying cool and healthy and hydrating, because it is dangerous out there, and we do have a lot of students that are at summer swim right now, and that is it.
Thank you, Mr. Hershey. Dr. Ng, you have any thoughts for us?
I wanted to congratulate all the graduates this year, and I attended some of the graduations that are not in my district, and one of the most memorable one was from the Mary Phillips High School. It was truly inspiring, and I wish I had brought my Kleenex. And this high school is for students that are just at risk of falling through the cracks, and I just wish there were more people who actually attended that high school graduation to be able to hear the stories, including the class president who says that at the first day of school, he was his face down on his phone and just didn't have much hope for himself. And then all it took was just this consistent tapping on the shoulder, and just to show him and all the other students in the school that they care, and and they had all these different stories of what they're going to do and how their lives have been changed. And so it was truly just a remarkable graduation ceremony, and just kudos to all the staff, the principal and the APs and everyone who had a hand in changing those students' lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ng. Ms. Edmonds.
I don't have any board comments, but I need to apologize to Ms. Lawrence, because I was calling her Tiffany Reynolds, who you know, I think.
I do.
Yes. So that person does exist, but not her, but she's out of the room. Anyway, so my apologies for calling Ms. Lawrence the wrong name.
Thank you, Ms. Edmonds. Going around the table, Ms. Rice.
Right. Yes. Congratulations to all of the 2025 Wake County graduates. I am super proud of you. I had an amazing time at the graduations that I was able to attend. However, I must say a special thank you to Bug Magnet Elementary for the invitation to their 5th grade promotion ceremony. Dr. Tiffany Stott leads with excellence and high expectations, and it was great to see it in action. So I really, really, really enjoyed that. I do want to say that's what it was. I do want to say that many of my board colleagues and I, we were chatting, wondering which school was possibly going to do some boots on the ground song, and I must admit it was great to see Bug to do it tactfully, and it was fun to watch the students of the Bug Step team participate in that particular song that's very popular in community. I also want to send a shout out to Carnage for receiving their ramp certification. Thank you for sending me that wonderful thank you letter and about your certification. It was a pleasure to see how they increased student performance and success with the strategic things that they did within their ramp process. So last, what are we going to do? The 8 dimensions of wellness. It is summertime. I'm not Will Smith, but let the wellness begin. I want to leave you with a few thoughts this summer as you enjoy the sun. I want you to think about how your wellness influences your leadership style, okay? So I'm just going to share a reminder. Some may not know. You hear me choose a different dimension of wellness every week, but let me tell you what they all are really quickly. There is emotional wellness. Now, I want to define it for you as the ability to cope effectively with life's challenges and build healthy relationships. I want you to ask yourself the question, are you healing or hiding? I also want you to look at environmental wellness, living in a clean, safe, and sustainable environment. And I want you to ask yourself, is your space peaceful or full of chaos? And then there is financial wellness, managing financial resources effectively for sustainability and security. Ask yourself this summer, are you managing your resources wisely or constantly stressed? And then there's intellectual wellness, expanding knowledge, creativity, and critical thinking. Are you growing or staying stagnant? And then there's occupational wellness, finding fulfillment in your work while maintaining balance. Woo, Chiefs, do you hear that? Are you fulfilled or just clocking in or out? And then there is physical wellness, the ability to cope effectively with life's challenges and build healthy relationships. Are you caring for your temple or neglecting it? And then the last two, social wellness, maintaining healthy relationships and social connections. And the question I want you to ask yourself this summer is, do you have life-giving relationships or draining ones? And finally, your spiritual wellness definition is finding meaning, purpose, and connection to values or beliefs. Ask yourself this summer, are you feeding your spirit or just existing? And so those are the 8 dimensions of wellness, and I want you to focus on those particular wellness areas of life so that you can enjoy an amazing summer and come back and be the best leader that you can be.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. Ms. Gordon.
Thank you. My last board comments honored our graduating seniors. But tonight, I especially want to recognize the parents, guardians, and families who stood beside them every step of the way. You've been the alarm clock. I know what that is. The late night tutor, the sideline cheerleader, the quiet encourager, and sometimes just the safe place to land after a tough day. I myself, I only have one more year before I have a graduating senior. But this year, we even had one of our very own board members who was able to celebrate his graduate. So I wanted to honor you tonight. So to every parent and caregiver, thank you. This milestone is yours too. We see you, we celebrate you, and we are grateful for the role you play in shaping the future. And finally, I want to wish a happy summer break to all of the traditional calendar and modified calendar teachers and my fellow year-round educators. It's coming.
It's coming. Thank you, Ms. Gordon. You're making me tear up a little bit. You know, I carry around this picture of my son at age 3 at my law school graduation, who, upon seeing me walk along the line with those graduates, ran out of his mother's arms, ran down the line, jumped up, and I had to carry him through the line. And our dean did not miss a beat, thanked me, shook his hand, and then handed me the diploma. And so memories like that are ones you keep for a long time. 15 years later, and I've still got that on my phone. So, and again, I do want to thank you all for all of your work this summer, and the items that you've lifted up in your board comments. Please know that we are moving into our summer schedule, so our next board meeting will be July 15th. That will be the same day as our board retreat. So we will have a meeting that month, but it will be an abbreviated meeting. So we will, after a long day, try to get everyone out as soon as we can. But please just check your email for items that will be up on that retreat, and then any other items that will be taking place between now and then, particularly regards to some of our hearings and other administrative duties. If you are traveling this summer, please be safe. A couple other things I wanted to mention. We say goodbye. We've had, as you know, several area superintendents that have retired recently. We also said goodbye recently to Dr. Mark Savage. Dr. Savage got his start at least he was in Delaware before that. I don't count those years. But here in Wake County, he got started at the Leesville Road Leesville Road High School as a teacher before moving to AP roles at Sanderson, our Wakefield schools, and then ultimately principal at those same Wakefield middle and high schools and and Heritage High School. Oftentimes referred to as Mr. Eastern Area, Dr. Savage put in a lot of great years for our school system and will be missed. And so we want to congratulate him and thank him for his service and hope that he enjoys his retirement. The graduation stories were amazing. Dr. Ng, you took my number one that I had. The Mary Phillips graduation was just so inspiring. I know if you heard Dr. Taylor talk about 30-plus graduations. I know many of you went to many of them, and it can be a lot. 6 straight days, dawn till way past dusk. And if you get the time in future years to attend some of these smaller schools, the Mary Phillips one, the Longview graduation was, again, another amazing one. I know Ms. Rice was there for that one. The Vernon Malone graduation. If it works out in your schedule, please go in and support these graduates and just hear some of the wonderful and amazing stories that we have from these hardworking students. In particular, I want to thank some members of our WCPSS staff, Ms. Delinda Ramirez-Carter, Mr. Brian Johnson, Ms. Anna Jackson, for all of their work making sure that these graduations came off well. Thank you to Mr. Scott and his team for keeping us all safe and orderly. It was a long graduation season, but we have some amazing stories that came out of it. With that, I have no other board comment. Well, Mr. Hershey?
Motion to return to closed session.
He read my mind. We have a motion to return to closed session. We have a second from Ms. Rice. All in favor of Mr. Hershey's motion that we return to closed session, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, we will convene in the other room. Thank you very much, everyone.